Hey everyone, this is my reaction to the 13th and final episode of the third season of Overlord. Now, last episode, the fighting really got rolling between the Baharuth Empire and the Riesti's Kingdom, and some people kind of overestimated their abilities and underestimated their opponents, and they kind of suffered for that, because I don't think they were ready for the giant baby goat monsters to appear and just start murdering people. Well, I mean, plenty of people died before they showed up, really, because they were the sacrifice that allowed the baby goat demons to show up. And yeah, things got pretty terrifying. Those things are definitely top 5 as far as the most disturbing, frightening existences in the show so far, I would say. Not a lot tops those goats. I mean, just the goat sounds are just the worst, but yeah, people died, that's safe to say. And you had Stranoff given an offer by Ainz to kind of join him, as a way of, minimizing the death here. But he didn't want to do that. He has loyalty to the kingdom, and he kind of bought the idea of having a duel. So I guess we'll see, if and how that pans out this episode. So let's get into it and find out. 3, 2, 1, play. I was gonna check to make sure it's recording, because sometimes it doesn't. Oh yeah, he had a bunch of, like, legendary items too. Which definitely helps, but yeah, Ainz is right. At least he's not in denial. Good question. Pretty strong blind loyalty. Yeah, but you're not gonna be able to kill him. That's not gonna happen. But it's a big but. A very big but. You will die before you take a step towards him. Probably. Your duty to die. Well, I guess you can manage that. I'd rather Shonoff not die. He is kind of a cool character, so. One of the better non-Nazareth characters. Yes. That definitely is a shame. But he'd make an excellent undead summon. If we bring him back. I disagree with him, but I can, respect his conviction, I guess. But yeah, a duel would be interesting, I guess. PvP. Please don't give me Ruby flashbacks. Please don't. Wow. Uh, I mean, he's not wrong, but no, he just doesn't want you to die, I guess. That doesn't make a difference to him. The difference between squashing one ant or two isn't much. You have a nice gaze too, Ainz. The only problem is he's a melee fighter and Ainz is a spellcaster. And Clam's armor really does stand out. That's kind of armor that just screams, attack me, please. I kind of forgot that was a thing, I'll admit. you know, they're trying to make it sound cool and all, but really, when he says he doesn't want to be resurrected, it just makes it sound like he's a death wish. At least to me. That's a line. Yes, be an example to us all, Stranov. Is this really going to be his last stand? I just want to inspect the craftsmanship, you know, admire the temper. Test its blade on you! What did he do to it? Or was this an analyzation spell? I know it's a nice, pretty blue color, and that it's sharp. But can it cut through bone? Nani? Okay. Ugh. Okay then. That's the winner that makes it feel better or worse. Not like he'll have a need for it. But, you know. I wouldn't agree to that. I want his stuff. He's got all sorts of cool stuff on him. Would be quite a plot twist if he actually succeeded in killing Ainz here. The one whose name is not worth remembering. It's still interesting to see characters like Climb, you know, interacting with Ainz. It's just... I want to pick up some sort of melee weapon, Ainz. I mean, I know spellcasters can't use very... They don't have a lot of weapons they can really use, but surely you could have at least wield a weak sword. Or have an item that helps out with that. Or you could just do this, you know? Who cares about time? uh... Well, that duel wasn't... I guess it wasn't much of a duel in the end. I kind of want to see that from their perspective. He suffered true death. Okay. Very familiar line. Yes, I kinda does. My dark baby goats. Yeah, we don't need your help, guy that just killed my best friend. Well... That's unfortunate. I mean, I wasn't super attached to him or anything, but... It's still unfortunate. No, the goat sounds again. I mean, could Claud even do it? I'll carry the sword. I promise I won't keep it Yeah, that's a battlefield right there. The corpses everywhere. The terrifying goats leaving in the distance. Yes, do you realize what you're up against now? And bested him in like a second, if not less, so. Don't lose it. We don't need you to become the Mad King. Good question. Is he dead? I don't think I saw him die. I love when they're starting to finally realize it. Their arrogance is finally been put in check. You'll only be so arrogant until your army falls. Yeah, that's why you want to fight with him in the duel. Okay, don't do anything stupid. Take this, Heinz. Because he didn't want you to die. There's no reason why you both had to die there, so. I mean, I'm sure it matters a little bit. I mean, he's dead, so. Yeah, just give it to him. Well, yeah. I bet. He was definitely an overwhelming force for you, so. Orders of magnitude more powerful than you could ever imagine. Why not? Show us his true power, so you know not to mess with him. So he could possibly have saved lives in his own way by doing that. Because, I mean, if your most powerful warrior dies that quickly to the enemy, what chance do you have? Still a pretty high price to pay for that, though. Still a stupid name, though. You could try killing some slimes in the forest. I guess he's holding onto the sword. uh, nice. It's a great takeaway from this. When you're having a rough day, yeah, just drink alcohol, that'll fix everything. Yeah, Bray's never been my favorite character, but I like that scene with him. That was pretty good. You know, when you suggest that with that evil face of yours, it makes me want to advise him to say no. Good. It's good. You're still dead, brother. Your brother's not coming back. I mean, I can't guarantee he's dead right now, but he's not coming back. That I can pretty much guarantee. My loyal basket holder. Man, she really is beautiful. I sometimes forget. You want to go to it? Oh. Well, that's nice. I mean, she's kind of a traitor to them, but considering she's working together with Demiurge, but you guys gotta hold up appearances. And yeah, that smile was something else. The bell. Who does the bell toll for? Now that's some ominous music. I mean, it's not really funny. I don't know why I'm laughing. Just, I don't know. Yep, the Death Knights. The show brings out the evil in me, okay? The walking of the Death Knights is just so awkward. Something about it. You gotta show your true self to these nice town folks. Yeah, I mean, you're... Wow, that's showing him. Throw a rock at the helmet of the undead giant warrior. That'll teach him. No! So is that child gonna die, or... Well, Lion's... Well, I know she wouldn't show mercy. He's a lowly human, after all. He should die just for being human. Is she gonna do it? I mean, Shrill Vines doesn't stop him. Or... Oh. Huh. What? What? Are we really doing this? Oh my god, I knew that sword looked familiar, but... Oh my god. Oh wow, that's harsh. Considering. This acting. I guess this is an interesting play. I bet it hasn't had much screen time this season, so this is great. No, she couldn't. But yes, come on, Momon, defend this town. It's your responsibility. Okay, I assume that's just okay, one of them is Pandora's actor. Momon. How kind. Well, this will be good. The offer that Stronach refused. I mean, yeah, it's not like I was about to kill a child for throwing a rock at a Death Knight or anything. It's quite a deal. Do you accept? Yes. Punish all rock throwers. I mean, unjust from his opinion. You gonna give in? Yeah, of course. I'm sure. uh, but yes, humans are one of the most adaptable species in existence, so... Yeah, because they have a defender around. Or so they think. Indeed. Unfathomable is a good word for it. uh, yes, you can only dream about being as amazing as Ainz. You know. Yes, the most important bit. But yes. That's a throne. The floor bosses, the Pleiadius maids, everyone. Still not used to that name. I know it is, Albetta. Bring me tea. I'll make good use of it. All of the above. Yes, you do that. Why, thank you. This is a very, very memorable day indeed. Erantil is now ours. Oh? Okay. Yeah, let's be casual. uh, Sorcerer Kingdom Einzolgon. And the story goes on. In other words, season 4 confirmed. Well, either that or, you know, some people to go read the light novels, one of the two. But that's not gonna happen for me, so, you know, season 4 win. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that final episode. I'd say that was pretty good. I mean, I would have liked the duel to be a bit longer than that, but I guess when there's a power difference on that scale, it's to be expected. I was kind of hoping I would just humor him a little bit. But yeah, obviously one of those two was Pandora's actor. I assumed Momon was Pandora's actor because Albedo blushed pretty hard when Ainz behind her touched her shoulder, so I assume Momon was Pandora's actor there. Yeah, I knew Brain was pretty close to showing off, but man, that really became obvious this episode. Very deeply hurt by his death. And he has been around since like the beginning of the show, so it sucks to lose him. Okay, that was the 13th and final episode of, yeah, the Overlord Season 3. Now, this episode, Now, basically, we picked up where we left off, Stronov refusing Ainz' offer completely because of his loyalty to the kingdom, and that's just how he wanted to do things. And he offered up doing a duel with Ainz, which Ainz accepted, and pretty much accepted all of his rules in regards to it, including not being able to take the loot, although it looks like Brain kind of took out the sword. And he kind of commented on that sword being pretty powerful, like that could possibly hurt him, you know, if it was in the right person's hands, but Stronov, no, he was never going to beat Ainz. That was never a remote possibility. And I guess the reason why Ainz didn't feel the need to have any kind of melee weapon was because he just wanted to get up close and personal, you know, while using some sort of time distortion magic there, and giving him a true death. And Stronov did not want to come back. He did not want to be resurrected at all. I guess because that would defeat the purpose of sacrificing himself to begin with, but still, a lot of people would have preferred him to not do that, but yeah, it was his decision at the end of the day. Just like it's Brain's decision to do what he wants to do going forward, which he kind of came to terms with during his little scene. See, what happened after everybody left of the war? Yeah, they talked about the situation, like, okay, let's just accept his demands. Iranto's not worth losing all of our people. Let's just give it to him. Which is what they should have done in the first place. It would have saved several, tens of thousands of lives. But, you can be a lot more prideful when you have an army backing you. But once your army's taking a big blow, there's kind of not much you can do there. Also, we had, they were also talking about Marquis Raven, about how he's missing, so I don't think we saw him die or anything. I'm trying to think, I don't think we did, so I don't know what the deal with him is. I mean, I'm sure he'll be more plot relevant going forward. It kind of felt like it was setting up for that, so if he died, I think they would have said as much. I mean, they're still treating Barbaro as if he's just missing and not dead, but still. I don't think Raven's dead. We had a scene between Climb and Brain. Brain very upset about Stronov's death. Climb, I guess, sort of helping. I mean, he was there. Brain just attacking the sky and, trying to, vent pretty much. And after a lot of that, he kind of came to terms with what he would do going forward. So, good for him. It's good that this hasn't completely destroyed him. He kept talking about wanting to die with him, so I'm glad he didn't do anything stupid in that regard. But they also talk about how the nobles have a bit more power now, I guess because of how this whole situation panned out. Something about that. I mean, Climb says something to that effect. Also, we had Princess Renner talking to her brother, obviously trying to keep up appearances, getting flowers for the altar for the fallen victims in the war. But we know that she's not. We know that she's kind of affiliated with Nazarick in some capacity. I mean, we haven't really seen much directly as far as her communicating with Demiurge and them, but we do know there's something there. So I do kind of have to keep that in mind. And then we had a pretty cool scene of, because they decided to give up the territory to Ainz. So we got a nice little scene of seeing him like marching down his newly established territory. And he had his Death Knights and other minions walking around. Ainz just sitting in his, his little room there. I don't know what you call those things. I mean, I do. I just don't remember off the top of my head. But pretty much just, yeah, that's what he was doing. And then some foolish child threw a rock at a Death Knight, which was not... That was never going to end well for that child, so... Yeah, but they were pretty much planning on something like that happening. They obviously couldn't guarantee that child would throw a rock or anything, so... But they knew somebody in some capacity would retaliate, so they had a plan for that. Basically, Momon, quote-unquote, would show up to defend the person about to be killed by Albedo, and say, "No, back, you fiend! I am the hero of this town. I will defend it to its last breath. As long as I stand, you will not do anything cruel to the people I protect." That kind of thing. And then they had some negotiations, like, become our minion, and we won't do anything too bad to these people. No, well, do it anyway. Okay, I'll do it. I mean, I'm obviously grossly oversimplifying the dialogue, but that's basically what it came down to. But Momo being around at all gives them hope because he kind of keeps them in check, presumably. So yeah, Momon, the idea of Momon around is basically what's keeping things without getting out of hand too much, So yeah, that was an interesting play. So basically, we have some payoff for Momon, like his existence. So yeah, we've kind of got some real meaning behind that now. I don't know if he'll continue to do like quests as Momon or not. I guess probably just to remind people that he's around, but probably won't be much of a priority. I mean, I can imagine a lot of people just walking up to Momon saying, "Please do something about this evil overlord, drive him out of our town," even though that's an unreasonable thing to ask. I can still see some people doing that. Because, I mean, we had a child throwing a rock, even though that was completely pointless and could only ever end with the child dying. It still happens, so people are not always completely rational, so I'm sure we get plenty of people begging Momo to do something, anything, out of desperation. And then we just kind of ended off on a on a nice scene of Ainz addressing his main followers and saying, "Okay, this is a big step, a very memorable day. I, Sorcerer King Ainz, we're establishing our country. We're definitely starting to really get things rolling." And yeah, that's great. I actually was 50-50 on whether or not that child would die. Because you never know for sure whether the show can sometimes go really into really dark, cruel territory, and sometimes it doesn't. So it really keeps you on your feet like that. So that's one of the good things that shows like this and Game of Thrones and Attack on Titan do have going for them, is that nobody really has all that much plot armor. Anybody could die at any time, really. So that's the one good thing about this. You can't just assume a child's not going to die, because that would be horrible to happen. So surely that's not going to happen. No, it can happen. So yeah, this is one of those shows where you definitely can't just say that's probably not going to happen. That'd be too dark. No, that's no protection. That really was the episode, I think. I mean, I do hope to see more Princess Renner interacting with Nazarick. I mean, we've only really heard about it. I want to actually see some of it on screen, to be honest. But yeah, that was a really cool sword. I actually really like the sword. But yeah, it was nice seeing Albedo at all. She hasn't had a lot of screen time this season, so that was cool. Anyway, my thoughts on the season as a whole, I'd say it was pretty good. I probably liked it more than Season 2, just because Season 2 had all the lizard stuff. They had a bit too much of the lizard stuff, which kind of took away from it. I mean, this season did have a lot of goblin stuff, of course, and I didn't care about the goblins that much. And then, unlike the lizards, who I actually had a couple of them I cared about, I mean, pretty much none of the goblins I really cared about. They were all kind of interchangeable to me. I know a couple of them had more, plot focus than the others, but still didn't mean anything to me. Whereas with the lizards, we had the priest girl, who I liked a lot. The same voice actress as Aqua from Konosuba, I liked that a lot. Also, the, her mate, I don't remember his name, I think it started with a Z, but yeah, him too, I kind of liked him. He was pretty cool. He had a very nice weapon. I don't think it was called Frostbite, but it was something like that. So we did have some pretty cool lizard stuff. We just had too much of it, like too much general lizard stuff. The goblin stuff didn't seem to be as prevalent in this as the lizard stuff was in Season 2, so the goblin stuff didn't bother me as much. And it wasn't just the goblins. They obviously interacted with Nefira and Henry and all them, and we got to see Kieran Village, which we're pretty attached to. That's been in the show since the beginning. So we also got to see more of the village in general, so, the goblin stuff didn't really bother me at all, even if I didn't really care about any of the goblins really specifically. And it did set up for the one conflict where Barbaro did show up with his army, attacking, and they were able to defend themselves. And, oh yeah, there's also ogres. I mean, it wasn't just goblins, you also have the big old ogres show up, which I guess was cool. And yeah, pretty great fight scene, a war scene there, well, that section of the war. Because we also had Henry also summoning more goblins, like orders of magnitude more powerful than a previous summon. So that was great to see as well. Now the village is pretty good hands. If those goblins are sticking around, yeah, the village is pretty safe. I don't know how they're going to feed that many goblins, but I guess it's a problem for them to deal with. Let's see what else. I mean, this season just kind of been when Ainz decided to, well, I mean, Demir's kind of decided it, but this is when we decided to really get the whole idea of Nazarick becoming its own country. This season's kind of when we got that rolling. We also got into the Baharuth Empire, which we haven't got through much of the series until now. It's mostly been about the Riesize Kingdom and the slain theocracy. These seasons, we actually finally started to get more of the Baharuth Empire, getting to see how they do things. So that was cool, because they were kind of the last, main human civilization to get into. Of course, there's tons of non-human civilizations and stuff, but the show's never really focused on that too much. It's mostly been about the humans, things from their perspective. Maybe that'll change going forward, but we haven't gotten much of the demi-humans. I mean, we had lizards and goblins, and that's really about it, but I think there's a lot more than that. I know the author's pretty big on his world building, so I think there's a lot of demi-human type civilizations around that are just kind of kept in check somehow, like by borders or whatever. But anyway, I know it's a big world, more than we've actually gotten to see in the show. So maybe we'll touch on that at some point. The only reason we really got into the lizards is just because Ainz wanted to summon some lizard death knights or whatever, so maybe there'll be some other reason for Ainz to want to explore some other races. That'd be cool. Let's see what else. Trying to think anything else, because the problem with this being a third season of it's hard to sometimes remember what happened in what season. I had a similar problem with My Hero Academia, because yeah, the solution and Sebe's stuff was last season, I'm pretty sure, with the 8 fingers and all that. which I remember some of that stuff more vividly than I remember some of the season 3 stuff, honestly. But the biggest thing with the season was probably the whole the raid on Nazarick, where they made the mistake of attacking Nazarick, trying to plunder it for its loot. That was the last mistake a lot of them will ever make. And Ainz didn't even really bring his A game there. Like, he had a lot of the traps and stuff shut off to preserve gold or whatever, and he still just destroyed them. They had no chance. He had so many powerful floor bosses and stuff. Like, even when they were in Yggdrasil, the video game, like, nobody successfully beat their dungeon. So, yeah, there was no chance here. And those were other players, you know, people that had the chance of being the same level as Ainz. They still didn't do it. So, the people in this world that are much less overpowered than Ainz is, of course, they never stood a chance. Now, at that arc, they brought up the foresight. I keep wanting to call them hindsight, but yeah, the workers. I think that's what they called people that were like guild people, but not official. I think that's kind of what they called them, the workers. Yeah, they were the kind of the main group that we got to see, and I figured at least one of them would survive. You know, the raid, but no, even the last one died. Now, I think she didn't die in the light novel. I think she would just, you know, shelter a slave in the light novel, but in the anime, which is what I'm talking about, she died. Which sucks for her, especially because she left behind her 2 little sisters, which had a very horrific fate follow them not too long after that, which, you know, everyone and their mother decided to let me know in the comment section of that video. Which definitely unfortunate. That was a very sad way to end off that episode. It was definitely a very dark, a very low point for the series. Really, definitely one of those episodes that reminds some of the audience at home that Ainz is not a good person. He never has been a good person. If you think he's a good person, that's your own misunderstanding. He is a evil skeleton overlord that cares about his own self-interest above all else. He even has his little aura thing pop up whenever he starts to feel a bit too much emotion, because, you know, because that's how the skeleton man works. Or no, different the series would be if he wasn't a skeleton, if he was just a normal human player. That's something fun. That's something fun to think about if he actually was a human player. But or if he didn't let Demiurge know about his world conquest idea, because Demiurge took that to heart and made steps to make that a reality, even though Ainz didn't take that all that seriously. I mean, he has nothing against taking over the world, but he didn't quite take it as seriously as Demiurge did, so that would also be something to think about. But yeah, the child being held by his mother to not die, that reminded me a lot of the early on scene with the 2 sisters, you know, Nefira and her Henry and her little sister. So I wonder if that was deliberate to make that feel similar. It felt like it, at least. See what else is there to mention in this season? I mean, the raid on Nazarick and the war that kind of happened between the Baharut Empire and the Reasized Kingdom, that was the real meat of the season for the most part. I mean, that and the goblins. So I don't think there's much left to mention. I mean, Beta showing just how evil she can be was interesting, because we haven't got a lot of her before. We know Solutions, you know, a human hater, evil girl, and, you know, Nabe is too, as well, to an extent. But not so much Beta. Beta has mostly just come across as, you know, happy-go-lucky, silly character, so seeing how bloodthirsty she is for human flesh, you know, that was interesting to see as well. Yeah, this is just an extra season of an anime, so there's not really too much to say on it, really, aside from just covering some of the main events, which I already have. So the end of it did definitely lend itself to a season 4 with the way it ended off, and the fact that it said, you know, and the story continues, whatever it said. So season 4, probably. Of course, I'll react to it. I reacted to season 3. I reacted to season 2. I did not react to season 1 because I watched that before I started doing reaction videos. But this is season 4. I will definitely react to it. So yeah, I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to Cnouki for supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you consider clicking the like button and leaving a comment, because that's a great and easy way to let me know that people want more. If you want to do something big to help the channel, you can support me on Patreon and get nice benefits like early access to certain videos. See you next time.